This is an Am I the A-hole thread from a man. And it is important to do some of these because it does show that some of these people do know and understand how they should be treating their wives and how they should be a dad. Now, this man says, am I the a-hole for ruining my brother's marriage? He says, no, I didn't sleep with his wife, LOL. So my wife and sister-in-law got pregnant around the same time, just weeks apart, with sister-in-law leading. Wifey pregnancy was hard on her, but she pulled through, and I did my best to support her, especially since it was our first child. After her birth, she had postpartum depression, like most women, but I had prepared for this. I had made around 10 meals prep of her favorite foods and desserts so she could have them exactly when she wanted them, and it'll allow me to help with our baby girl more. I let her have time to herself whenever she needed it because she wasn't feeling well. And then if she isn't feeling well, then my baby girl isn't feeling well either. She got her push presents, which included jewelry, shoes, and a bag she wanted. I really wanted her to transition to motherhood as beautiful as she had made it for me becoming a father to our girl. Now, on to the problem. Like I said, my sister-in-law gave birth earlier than my wife. She went low contact for a couple of weeks, which I get. I did the same. When I did see her, though, I was appalled. She had grown heavy eye bags, had wore dirty clothes, and obviously hadn't had time for herself. My brother, on the other hand, looked clean and put together. I didn't say anything since it's not my relationship. On last Sunday, my mom hosted a get-together, and during that, me and my sister-in-law were able to talk for a bit. She made a comment about how put together my wife seemed, and she said labor must have been easy for her. I corrected her, saying it wasn't, and I just took care of her for the first couple of weeks. She asked what I did, and I repeated what I wrote above. She got quiet and looked a bit sad. She mumbled something before heading back inside. I didn't think much of it till yesterday. My brother called me, blowing up my phone, and called me an a-hole for trying to appeal to his wife. He added how how they had a fight, and she said she felt like she wasn't being cherished and loved like she was supposed to be, and needed time to think about their relationship. She went back to her parents' home with the baby. I told him I didn't mean for it to come off like that, and I was just being honest when we were talking. Didn't work. He called me more names before hanging up. My family is mad at me, especially my dad, saying that I was trying to make my brother look bad in front of his wife by flaunting my lifestyle. Am I the a-hole? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Taking care of your wife and being an involved parent isn't a lifestyle. Yes, the push presents were probably a bit extra. That's a bonus. But the fact that his wife had the opportunity to take a shower and rest and recuperate and all of those things, that is what made her look refreshed and put together. That involved partnership where she is not feeling so well because building a baby, labor, and the aftermath of having a baby is hard on your body, and it can be hard on your mind. And he said that she had postpartum depression as well. And the act of creating these meals and setting them up for her meant that he had some foresight or some forethought about what she would need and anticipated that and supported her in that. And a lot more people need to know and understand this. That's the reason why I'm glad that we're having many of these conversations in the public square. And I'm glad that I was tagged in this post to create something. Now for some of the comments. Milan Moana says, not the a-hole, even if you were a wealthy billionaire to their paupers, inspiring envy by flaunting your lifestyle. How is it your brother has left his wife to be so haggard that she shows up a mess at a family event? He can't help out enough so that she at least has some clean clothes to wear or time to freshen up before coming? Come on. Besides, your sister-in-law asked, you answered. You didn't do anything wrong. Your brother and father are a-holes. Bunny Slayer says, I beg everyone's pardon, but since when was being considered a lifestyle? push presents aside, it was the meals, the hands-on care for their infant, and other small acts of service that allowed the OP's wife to look rested. And then midday care here says, exactly. OP said he made 10 meals. That is nothing. This is more about day-to-day care of the sister-in-law and the baby, or lack of day-to-day care of sister-in-law and the baby. Careful Signal says, not the a-hole, your brother is just mad because he made himself look bad by not caring for his wife and the mother of his child like all men should. I applaud you, sir. Plus, honestly, this sounds like the straw that broke the camel's back because he sounds incredibly immature and selfish. If he looks so put together and well rested and she looks like she hasn't slept or showered in days. Sufficient Angle says, I agree. Sounds like a selfish husband. I remember how hard it was when I had my 3 kids. Ex-husband was an extremely selfish person. When my daughter had her 2 kids and my son had his, I made meals for at least 7 days, Italian and Hispanic, where all they needed would be to add a side salad and some kind of bread. My daughter asked if I'd make the same for her husband's brother and his wife. I did when they both had their children as a congratulations on your new baby gift. I also went to my daughter's every day until her maternity leave so she could shower and eat breakfast. Having babies takes a lot out of women, and just a little help can mean the world to a mom. And you see, this is a woman who knows and understands, but we have to talk about these things so that other people can know how they can support a woman. And I like this one. That's the reason why I circled it in yellow. My mom and I have started giving food delivery gift cards to new parents, enough for 1 or 2 decent meals to be delivered. A sort of, oh, look, you have a new baby. You know what you aren't going to want to do? Cook. Why not get food delivered? Now, this is women anticipating the needs of women. And we know what other women will need because we know what we might have wanted. So I'm just putting this out here. And this person's like, this is a great idea. I may have to steal that for a colleague of mine who is pregnant. Now, bringing this back to this OP, no, he's not the a-hole because he just simply anticipated what his wife would want. The brother did not. And the brother knows that he's looking bad simply because he didn't worry about his wife, and even in the aftermath didn't take the baby so she could shower. That is just simple, like being unsupportive. Y'all jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. So this was posted about 3 weeks ago. I am admitting I was a little slow, actually a little backed up with content, so I didn't get to it. But this just goes to show that the dust is global. It doesn't matter where in the country the dust is. Yeah, it's a global phenomenon that women are having to deal with. So this woman, she says, I, 25-year-old woman, am pregnant, and my husband, a 27-year-old man, suddenly wants to move back to Belarus. Suddenly, he seems to think he has the right to make decisions for both of us. How do I manage this with a clear mind? So let's get into this. She says, my husband and I live in Sweden. I moved there with my family when I was very young, as my mother is Swedish. However, he only moved here about 7 years ago. We were together for almost 6 years, and we married each other about 6 months ago. I found out I was pregnant about 2 months ago. I am 13 weeks pregnant now, and everything seems to be going well. All our tests have been clear, and so far I am healthy. My husband and I are both very happy, and I'm quite excited to be having a baby, although nervous. I was very nervous about pregnancy, hence why it was an accidental pregnancy, but so far it's been all right, other than the nausea. This was until my husband told me he wanted to move countries. I am still a dual citizen of both Sweden and Belarus. My husband also is. However, I feel no need to go back there. The last time I did when I was 13. The last time I did was when I was 13. I've lost most of my Russian, and I don't like the situation over there. Most of my family is here, and I've always felt more at home here than I ever have there. My husband explained he had applied for a job there, and he thinks we would have a better life there, so would our child. I got really upset. I told him that he can't just make this decision for the both of us, and that I don't want to go back there. It scares me. I don't want to have my child in that environment, and I like the Swedish schools and way of life more. I knew my husband missed Belarus, but I never thought he would want to go back. He got annoyed at me and said I wasn't thinking in the best interest of our child. I was honest and said that if he made me go back there, I would divorce him and do everything I can to go back home, and that he can't make me, and that I'm not going and I won't go. He yelled at me and said he was my husband and that it's not up to me to decide how our life will be. I told him that he never said that was how he saw marriage and he was being archaic. He seemed to calm down. But later, when we were sleeping together, he got far too aggressive and his hands ended up on my throat. That's a very soft way of saying that his hands ended up on my throat, not he was attempting to strangle me. Okay. I managed to push him away. He didn't hurt me, but I was worried about the baby. But then he started, for some reason, complaining about how dramatic I was being about this whole pregnancy. And I seemed to think it makes me entitled to decide everything. And he wasn't even being that tough. I'm sorry, that rough. He's never acted like this before. It's like he thinks he can control my life and our future child's life. We're supposed to make decisions together, not just one of us. I'm starting to think I can't stay with him. It's not just about moving countries, it's the way he seems to think he's entitled to decide my whole life just because he's my husband. I've always thought that men have no more rights to make decisions than women in a marriage, as that's the point of a marriage. We're together. My brain is a mess right now. I'd always thought I love him, but now I look at him and realize that I just can't do this if he carries on like this, and I feel so stupid for not seeing it before. I don't know if it's the hormones or my own emotions becoming too involved, but I'm really doubting this right now. First of all, they've only been married for 6 months, and 6 months in, his mask is falling off. And we have continued to point this out on these posts in the comment section that a lot of the times pregnancy or marriage is the time when the mask will fall off. They have been cosplaying as somebody else. And then all of a sudden you get pregnant, you move, in which he's trying to do, get her to move. Then they think that they have you trapped and then their mask falls off. The fact that he wants to move her to Belarus, where she said that most of her family is over here in Sweden. So why separate her from most of her support system in a time where she's going to need even more support? He is trying to make her get isolated, make her be isolated. And he's already showing these red flags like, I am the man, I'm supposed to do this, da da da. So he's already showing that. So if she were to move, this will only get 100 times worse. It would be terrible because the mask is already slipping down and it's just going to completely come off because she has nowhere to go. She'll have a new baby or be heavily pregnant, and then she can't really escape. She'll have no outlet. She'll be a prisoner, basically. And the fact that his hands just made their way around her neck just shows just more red flags. It's not about her doubting her emotions. She's just not saying what needs to be said and not doing what needs to be done. If he's doing this and she's just slightly pregnant, then what's going to happen when she is really pregnant? All right, so you guys weigh in. I will do a few of these comments. This person, Morpheism, says, don't go to Belarus, LOL. It's a shto country ruled by a sociopath dictator who's like Russia, probably doesn't see a problem to use people as cannon fodder. No future there for you or your child. And then the OP says, do you really think I don't know that? I don't need to be told anything about how that country is, and I'm never going back ever. I'm sure, like she said, she knows considering her family is from there. When people say this kind of stuff, it's just like, why are you telling someone who is clearly not wanting to go there? But I just wanted to bring that comment out. This person is highlighting the comment where she said he thinks we would have a better life in Belarus and so would our child. And they say, I divorce him just for the stupidity of that statement alone. Belarus better than Sweden? What a dunce. And then the OP says, I don't know where he got that idea. Admittedly, my family and I rejected most of most of our Belarusian side, whereas he didn't. But anyone can see that country is horrific. I wish it wasn't, but that's the way it is. Now, this person, Rudina Triss, says, fellow Swede here. She is telling this woman to be unpregnant, take care of the pregnancy. You guys get what I'm saying. But the woman doesn't want to. She says at the bottom, I would not be comfortable with that. She wants to have this baby. It is, I am a very pro-choice woman, but I don't think throwing that out as a first thing to someone who has emotions going all over the place, I don't think that that's a good idea either. Okay, so here in the middle, the OP was saying I was taking medication. So it sounds like she was on birth control. She said I was taking medication. I don't know what happened, but I never once forgot. I wasn't opposed to a child. I just wanted to be more mentally stable first. So maybe this man was actually already sabotaging her birth control so that he could work on this game plan. Because why the heck are you applying for jobs in another country unless that's part of the wider plan? Anyways, you guys, let me know what you think about this story. Jump in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. These two screenshots were posted in the When Women Refuse subreddit, and I was tagged in it. The fact that these emotionals, these most logical leaders, have the opportunity to express all of their innermost working thoughts to us in public, it just goes to show that we need to be reading what they're saying because this is in their minds. So this emotional says, what's disturbing to me as a man is the fact that how irrational society can be. You rather be unalived than be slept with without consent. You see how be slept with without consent. Not saying that could be a good thing, but anyways, and also simultaneously assume the man whom you'd meet would necessarily do that. Now that's concerning. That's the concerning part. Same man continues, as a man, if I come across random bits of a creature while hiking, I will of course immediately use it for my gratification. I'm like a penguin or an otter. I barely have a choice. And then we have hysterical ex-wives wondering why women are saying team bear, team bear. Why would a woman even imagine thinking that she would be safer around a bear? And this is literally what they are saying. And they are putting this in a public sphere where we can read it. But women are supposed to know who the rational ones are, who the safe ones are, when the innermost workings of some of their minds can formulate these words and put them together and not think twice about putting it on social media. Okay, now for some of the comments. So this person is saying, yeah, because classically, guys watching a movie where a man chooses death rather than be enslaved or violate his creed always say how lame and irrational that is. And obviously she's being sarcastic. We know that some of these people would rather take themselves out versus being enslaved or worse. There are worse things that can happen than death. It's like a perpetual death over and over if you have to stay with somebody that is sadistic. Sad and Nasty says, didn't even think of this comparison, probably because that's a commonly held fantasy and grape is a much more real concern. I'm going to have to bring this up the next time I see someone saying some ignorant ish about how women shouldn't be living a life ruled by fear or some BS. 120 ounces of pudding says, I also explain how girls start getting catcalled by age 12. We have years of experience with creeps by the time we reach 18. We know what to expect from some men. They literally train us to feel afraid and then get pissed when we are afraid. Also, we have people in our lives who know how these hysterical emotionals are and how unhinged they can be. So you actually have other men in our lives that are warning us, yet saying it out loud, people get upset. Faunaline says, it's not just catcalling. As long as I can remember, my father, she says the same thing. My father and other men in my life warned me about other men. You're trained early in life to be careful not to offend men, wear certain clothes, or be friendly in a way with men. Then they wonder why the bear is always the best choice. And then Goth Ma'am says, Team Bear forever. Society Law says, this is how my generation was raised for sure. And then Adorable Novel says, I got in trouble at home for wearing a tank top. My brother, who, to no one's surprise, did SA me, would freak out. And I mean, it was as if I was assaulting him, and my dad was furious too. Finally, my mom sat down and said, well, you see, they're guys. So when they see you in a tank top, they think you look pretty and it makes them uncomfortable. So you just need to wear a t-shirt because they can't control it. An effing tank top. I was only showing my shoulders and that was it. And it was at home when I was hot. And this person says, what is the bear? Exactly. At what point are women and girls supposed to be safe? You can't even be safe in your own home. So understand, well, we women do understand. We understand what our experiences were. And we speak about it. And people are just upset that women are speaking about it in a very public manner. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.